Well, welcome, Camille, finally to our Leaders Who Care series, where not that you have to prove it, but you're going to prove it to the two or three that don't know that you are really a leader who cares. So, welcome.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad to be here. It's been a while.
I know where you been. You haven't sent flowers, chocolates,
I
nothing.
know.
And I like dark chocolate in case you're interested.
Good, good. I know. I'll write that down for Christmas.
Yeah, or Hanukkah, or both.
Unless you don't celebrate. I was just gonna say, unless you don't celebrate, I have no idea.
Celebrate as much as we can, whatever we can, type of thing. So, um, always the best place to start is if you could
Yeah.
introduce yourself, and I'll
Okay.
put an asterisk beside that, but I do it more for men than women because men usually tell me exactly what their title and position is and what they do. But that's not the question. The question is
hmm
if you can share where you're from originally, where are you now, if you how much you feel comfortable sharing about your family, and stuff, and a little bit about you, and then we'll get into what you do stuff. Okay.
Okay. I'm in New Jersey in the States, born and bred and have never moved. Uh, no,
Um,
I mean I left for college and came back, but I only went as far as New York.
really living on the edge there, Camille.
And then
Um,
I lived in Long Island for a year and came back to Jersey. So,
well, it is
but
the
I have
Garden
moved the
State.
Garden State. I have moved around New Jersey. It is a small little peninsula. A lot of people don't know that. But there's a lot of facets to New Jersey where I grew up by New York City. Then I raised my kids up in the farmland in central Jersey.
And it's
Now I
got to
live in the
be,
mountains.
it's got to be a good place because you actually don't you host the Jets and the Giants and everybody there
We
also?
sure do. Yeah.
So,
Jersey's awesome. It's unbelievably expensive. So it's hard to grow old here, but I'm trying to figure it out.
you're doing well. You look marvelous, as we said. So,
Thank you. Thank you. What were the other questions? So
oh,
I'm
your
from Jersey. I've
family.
never left.
Yeah, you have family, right?
Family. My family is also from New Jersey. I'm one of five children.
Oh,
The oldest girl. I have an older boy, one above me, and then three girls below me. And at the time that I moved, we were New Jersey used to be, at least when I was a kid, it was 40% Italian. So, yeah, big Italian influence. And so I was brought up in a strict Italian family with all those strict, ridiculous rules. So I had to kind of break away from all of that. Um, and I have three children. I'm divorced. I have three children that I raised full
that's
time.
funny.
So
I'm divorced and I have three.
look at
Um,
that.
yeah, I have three boys though, and a bonus daughter from Denmark that married my middle boy. Uh,
Oh, that's
so
so
what are
neat.
yours? Boys, girls?
All girls. I have a 25-year-old and twins. A 23
Oh,
year old twins. So I had three in 17 months.
wow. I think we talked about this because
Yeah.
my two youngest are 17 months apart. Uh,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
and everything. So, there's got to be something too. There's like three boys, you got three girls, and one's taken already, but the other two are kind of available. So, I am in the, executive search matching talent business. Probably would have done better if I would have found the eHarmony and, or something,
I was,
you
I
know.
think that's gonna come back.
You
It's
think?
gonna have, I think matching services are going to come back because the dating apps don't work.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're older, you're looking for much different things and apps are going to connect you, right? It is like an executive search firm.
I do know an executive search person that has gone into that actually, because
I think it's brilliant.
it is.
It's
Well,
brilliant.
all
Yeah.
right, I'll think it up. I'll think
You think that
if
through.
this doesn't
Get
work
back to
out,
me.
if this doesn't work out, I'll like,
I'm willing to be a test subject. So,
oh, okay, well, okay, my first client. Yay.
yeah.
Damn, and I haven't even opened up the business yet. Nice. That's the way he wanted to go. So, you mentioned about kids and your kids and whatnot. What were you
Yeah.
like as a kid and teenager of five others? And were you
Yeah.
interested in sports,
I
theater?
was
What?
I was sports, very competitive. I was all New Jersey in four sports. Went to college playing sports.
Wow.
Basketball was my big one.
What were the other?
Yeah. Softball was probably my second one. I was a pitcher. That was probably my second one. I also played volleyball and swam, but Didn't
I
love
mean,
those as
yeah,
much.
I mean, those are, I mean, I live in Hermosa Beach here. There's tons of volleyball going on all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I played basketball well into my 50s, so that was always my thing. Always kind of just been on love nature, love being outside. Now, though, that I'm older, I hike a lot. I did for a while there, I did triathlons. I don't do that anymore. I'm slowing down, Mark.
Triathlons,
I
you know,
I'm
so
not as competitive, but I was very competitive, which probably shows up, in my entrepreneurship and the things that I do in the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So
competition is good for us if we know how to win and we know how to not, lose and learn type of
very
stuff.
good. And I think it really helped me be a leader too,
Hmm.
right? When I'm like was head of the teams and head of the thing, like I think sports had a big, big role in that
Yeah, as you
because
know,
it was a team. We all needed each other, right?
yeah,
So yeah, it was a big part of it. My
yeah.
kids
There's so
were not
much.
athletes though. It was just me.
They're
We
not.
lost it.
They lost it.
They all
Um,
went into theater. So
well, theater's good too. My
love
second
theater.
son's an actor,
Yep,
and you can learn from all of these things, and they teach you teamwork because you've got to. One actor has to play off the other actor and make them
absolutely.
better. And the ones I always love it when people say, "Well, I can do that," or "I can do that." And the reason it looks so easy to do is because the people are that great at it. That's
Yeah.
all.
Like what I've always loved theater. So of course I brought my kids to theater all the time. 3 out of 3 went into theater, although the oldest now is going into a different career. But my other two are still in the performing arts. I had no idea what it took to put on a production until my kids were in it. And my oldest one went into historic costume design. They were a specialist and
Wow.
toured with like Jersey Boys and Into the Woods. And the team that was behind it, and then one was a stage manager, and I'd watch how they call, and I was like, I had no idea. Because in the front, in the audience, you only see the actors, right? And there's
Hey,
like 100 people behind them. Yeah, so I learned so much, but even about Tech Week and their voices, and I did not come from that world, so I can't really help them, but I was a theater mom as much as I could be because
yeah,
I really
there's
didn't know what to do.
there's a lot to be said for it takes a village. That
Yeah,
expression. Because being on set when I send in movies and stuff, you see the same thing, obviously.
yeah,
And they work harder than anybody. Those people doing that stuff, and
hard work.
so it's sports, music, theater, all that stuff is it's so all about life for real,
Hmm.
and what
Yeah.
you should
And
follow and stuff.
yeah,
So you ended up going to college though. Also,
I did go to college.
you went to SUNY and you
I did.
studied psychology and marketing.
I did.
And then after that, you still had enough energy, which I didn't after I got my CPA. I was going to do an MBA, and I said, I am still too tired from doing my CPA. And I said, so, but you went to get your MBA in marketing, right?
Yes, I got an MBA. Yeah, I was out for like a year, year and a half, something like that.
So
Went
what
into
were
the
you
business
thinking about?
world and went, no.
What were you, no, what were you thinking about back then? What were you envisioning?
So when I first got my psychology degree, I actually wanted to do counseling. Like I wanted to help people. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do counseling psychology. I did that while I was actually in college. I had a full-time job too, counseling. And by the end of college, I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. But I loved the idea of how the brain works, like how we make ourselves believe things and know things and how we perceive things. Like I still love that stuff.
Sure.
So marketing, I took a marketing class in my I think it was like junior year, and when I realized it was all psychology, I was like, oh, and I ended up taking I finished it up in my your senior year is supposed to be like your blow off year. I took another major because I was just like, I have to know more. So that's what that was about. When I got my MBA, it was really about consumer response and what made people buy and colors and numbers and I just thought it was really cool. I thought I would go into a career in more marketing, but I didn't. I ended up going into not-for-profit work. And
But you're always marketing,
oh, you're always marketing, you're always in psychology too. Like
right?
I think those two degrees were huge in who I am today
Hmm.
And they were part of my passion, right? I like how the mind works and our subconscious beliefs and all of that plays in everything I do today and how I help others. So, yeah, it's
You become the wonderful person you are.
yeah. But
You,
you don't always know. And I tell my kids this all the time. I was like, you don't know where you're going. Like, you may think you know where you're going, but you don't. But that's the beauty of it. Like, be open to change. It was like my oldest was a historic costume designer, had great work. And then she was like, this isn't it. She goes, I should have went to medicine, which were the two things. I know those seem like polar opposites, were the two things that she couldn't decide at 16 when she went off to college. And I said, I remember her coming to me at like 23. She's like, I made a big mistake. I was like, you're 23. Go back to school.
yeah,
And she's back at school now. She wants to be a research geneticist. So I'm like,
that's
fine.
spectacular though. But that's the wonderful thing about today and today's era of young people is you don't have to commit to something the rest of your life. And the great thing is they're looking for not just years of experience working, they're looking for experiences that they love and that they want to enjoy. And that's how you get the people performing their best is when they're doing that.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue for me because
Okay.
um, you said, psychology and marketing, and you weren't sure where you're going to go as well. Some of your earlier work experiences, I noticed the roles all had a leaning towards quote unquote giving.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of that too. And that even in real estate, it was with seniors. So there's a
Yeah.
theme going on
Yes,
here,
it
a
was.
good theme. And then you were supporting farming. So
Yes.
just kind of giving again. So you might have been a leader who cares even back then, for God's sakes.
Well, God, I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I've 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 always kind of cared about like others.
Well, with
And
with with caring about others, I'm really good at interrupting, by the way. With
yeah,
caring about others, were there any specific experiences, accomplishments, inflection points that stand out for you and impacted next steps?
probably so many. The way I ended up in not-for-profit work, this was really funny. I was volunteering my time
Hmm.
at um it was called the Arc back then. I don't know what it's called today. And I don't even know what I was doing. I was volunteering my time just to help others in some not-for-profit. I was like 22, might have been 23. And someone said, you can get paid for this. It's actually a job to work for nonprofits. I was like, are you kidding me? Like people get paid to do this and I'm doing it here for free. And I literally applied for a job and I got it. And that's what started my entire career. So that was, someone just saying, hey, people get paid to do this. And I was like, I didn't know that. And that started and the thing that I loved about not-for-profit work is you're helping so many. There's a cause, you're helping people. I still help people with strategy, if not for profits, opening nonprofits. I've helped lots of people open nonprofits. I just like that piece of it. So I'm lucky that I can work for causes I care about.
Yeah, sure. And one of the things that I've found is that we don't have to be defined. You're going to be an accountant. You're going to be a this. You're going to be a that. But if you put yourself in positions of exposure to things,
Yes.
then you kind of find out and you learn and it might be two or three or four things in your lifetime that you do that are different that come up as long as you're open
Yeah.
to letting that thing in, whatever it may be, and exploring it.
That's actually how I ended up here. So I was in real estate. I owned a real estate firm. I used to invest in a lot of real estate. And the mayor of my town at the time said, hey, I knew that you have a background in not-for-profit. And I was donating some of my time to the United Way at that time. And I was like, I do. I was like, but I don't think, like, I'm not going back there. And he's like, can you just help out with this one thing? And I was like, sure. And there was a special needs school, and he's like, we are all over the place. We just need some strategy. Can you just come in, talk to the board? And I'm like, sure. And I went in, talked to the board, and they're like, we need a strategy. And I'm like, gotcha. So I put together this little proposal, figured I'd be in and out in maybe 2 weeks. I'll just talk to the board, come up with a da da da. And so I put in a proposal and I did their whole strategy plan for them. And then I gave it to them, and then like we have no idea how to implement this. Can we just hire you for a few months to help us implement the whole thing? And I'm like, okay, I'll help you implement the whole thing. And that was like a couple more months. And then that board member told another board member of a different nonprofit that they were looking for a CEO because they had just landed this multi-million dollar government contract and had no idea what to do with it. They had no plan because they never thought they were going to get it. And they're like, can you just talk to them? And I was like, I really am not looking for a full-time job in a not-for-profit, and I know nothing about agriculture. But because you gave them my name, I will go because, right, for you, I'll go. So I went, they offered me the job. And I remember going home to my husband at the time going, I don't want the job. I know nothing about agriculture, and I'm not really sure I could be a CEO. Like, I don't think he's like, they wouldn't have, I've talked to other friends too, and they're like, they wouldn't have given you the job if they didn't think you could do it.
Right.
So maybe you should just go do it. And that's how I ended up being a CEO of this major nonprofit. I ended up being president of the entire Northeast, and I worked in Washington on our organic label and our food and farming system and the farm bill. Like, it was huge, but I had no idea most of the time what I was doing. And that led me to do doctorate work in, I started in nutrition because I wanted to understand uptake and what I was doing and how I was talking about it. I became this national speaker against genetically modified food and our bodies. And that got me into doctorate work. And that, the whole program, 4 years later, the USDA decided, nah, I don't think we're going to fund this to a grassroots place. We're going to give it to a land grant university, and pulled all of the funds. And 15 of us lost our jobs and this whole thing, right? So it was there that I was like, wow, I met these incredible people and I had such impact in the world. Like, that was a cool job. I loved that job. But I still wanted to hang with all those people because they were a little bit spiritual, right? They had this, they were very logically brained, but spiritually led. They were purpose driven. They had a more global look on life. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's what I want. And that's how I ended up creating my company, is because I couldn't find what I was looking for in the world. So I just
So it
started it.
found you, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that. I can relate because when I moved from Montreal to Winnipeg, I got recruited by a large real estate company, and I volunteered to do work with the hockey team, the Winnipeg Jets at the time, because I loved hockey. Long story
Hmm.
short, they asked if we can help with kids. We had 3,000 kids signed up in 3 days for like basically like a fan club, if you will, but more than that. And they offered me my dream job to work for a pro hockey team, but at the same time, they offered me a dream job to be executive director of the world headquarters of JC's International, because it was the project of the year, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. Way less money. And this is partly where Leaders Who Care comes from. The only person that told me to take that job was the president of the hockey team that offered me my dream job. And you don't know. And there's something about
Yep.
giving, going back to that part, that opens up doors and makes you feel good, and good things happen if you're open to hearing them too. So
Yeah.
way to go on that. And it really is a good message for young people and others to listen to, of what things can happen if you just approach it with the right giving attitude, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really a give first kind of thing. But I think I don't think about it giving to see what I can get. I just, that's who I am as a person.
That's the
So,
thing,
and
right?
yeah, and as we grow, and that's how it became my mission, to help other people get their gifts in the world, bring their gifts to the world. Because I think people have these really cool ideas and they don't know how to do it. And that kind of became my mission because I think the world needs it. And just because you don't know how to do it, let me help you get it there, right? It's just like helping people start nonprofits and all of this other thing. And
And
I
don't
think
ever, don't ever.
now, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say now more than ever, I like people are coming up with great stuff and with more global impact and social change. And so now I'm even more creative, and sometimes I'm hired, which I kind of went back to, a fractional like chief of staff or thought partner for the founder just to bounce ideas off of, because that
Sure.
is fun. That's fun stuff.
It
It's just
is.
fun stuff, right? Like, how can I help? And I can tap into the people I know in the world.
There's also
So that's how.
something to learn from what you did there was, you might not know how good you are. People don't just hire on specific only qualifications. Obviously, qualifications have something to do with it,
Yeah.
but people hire human beings. They hire people, and there's a lot that, and they sometimes see stuff in a person that maybe the person doesn't.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. Like if I look at my resume, I'm like, I don't think I have accomplished much, but other people can see it, right? Like because it's such a, and this is great for listeners that I have such a non-linear like resume. Like it's all over the place. And I had to put it together,
No, it's all
you
in
know,
New
because
Jersey.
sometimes
What are you talking about?
yeah, people ask for it and I'm like, "Oh my God. Like let me keep it to the last 15 years of crap I did." Right? Because but
Well,
I have experience in so many different ways, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
so tell me
Right?
how that, I'll go back a minute. So Fifth Element, our firm, we launched it on International Women's Day at the UN headquarters. It's about, talent and leadership and impact and,
Hmm.
all combined.
Yes.
What was your initial vision, mission for Soul Professionals and how did you develop it? Because it was initially, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was initially like a movement that you were doing, right? And
Yeah,
then
it's the movement now. It wasn't
let's move now.
originally.
Okay, but it was an
Yeah.
academy and a business school and a movement. And just tell us about what the vision is and how it all evolved.
Yeah, so it was when my last job was defunded, I was kind of searching for what can I do next in the world? Like I literally had no idea. So I started going to like Chamber of Commerce's and business groups, like just looking for a clue. Who was I going to meet? Because that's the way I pretty much floated through life. Like someone's going to hire me to do something, and that's what I'm going to do. Right. And money wasn't my motivator because I could have done a lot of things. I did get offers but they didn't make my heart sing anymore. I didn't want to work for a hospital. I didn't really want to work for a school anymore. Like I wanted to do something else. And those are the jobs that were really paying. And I didn't want to do it. So I'd go to the Chamber of Commerce's and then I'd go to like holistic organizations, like a holistic Chamber of Commerce or business. And I went, that's not me either. Like there's got to be something in between. And that's when I created my organization. It's called, with the parent company now, it's called the Natural Life Business Partnership. That was what we launched with. And we were really a coffee club. We were literally, I was just like, hey, I think we need a professional organization for people like us. Right. So, and I would talk to people and people would give me money. It was like $300 a year. Just come over and we're going to create our own professional organization. It was New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We went all the way up and down the East Coast. Like people were following me. It was great. It was fun, but everything was in person, and I'm a single mom. And I was like, I got a call in the end of 2017 from someone from California that said, "Oh my God, I've been watching you, and I can't wait for you to come out here." And I knew in that moment I did not have a sustainable model. I'm like, ooh, there's like, and I was doing the numbers. I was like, this will never work. Like, it can't work as an in-person thing. So I went through some models and had leaders and all of that stuff. But I heard of this thing called Zoom. And I was convinced that business was going to go to a global market that was done on video. And I opened up in 2018 as a no chapter professional services organization. And I made people get on Zoom. And I kept telling them, this is our future. We can't break the borders until we start doing this. And I would teach people, and I had coffee with Camille, the same coffees I was having before. But now to meet with me, you can come on here, you can ask me questions, I'll help you with things. How are we building our businesses? And we did that in 2019. We went international because I'm certified in this thing called Psych, which hadn't hit the US yet. So all of my business started coming from over there. And in 2020, you might remember there was this major pandemic
You kind of,
and we didn't have to pivot, change anything. And people just started flooding and I broke. Like every system we had broke. I just couldn't handle it. And I was like, okay, I think I got something here. But it was, I didn't even have a staff. I might have had a VA at that point, but I didn't have a staff. I didn't have the technology. I didn't even have an automated join form because I was talking to everybody and I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. Right. So, and Then by the end of 2020 is when I trademarked the word soul professional and did a rebrand. I had literally built the website myself. Like when I tell you it was put together with like Scotch tape, that's the business that I ran that just blew up. And the hard part is like a lot of people can implode. I was imploding, to be honest with you. At that moment, it was because you can't catch your breath.
Right.
Um, and I met someone in a networking group who said, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing, but your brand is all over the place. Like, I don't know your color. Like, what were you thinking?" And I was like, I wasn't thinking anything, right? People follow me. That's it. People like my energy and they're like, sure, I'll do it. Here's my money. That's my life. And that's when I came up with the word soul professional. It was actually at the end of the branding. I was like, oh my God, I know what it is. And I trademarked it before we launched in January of 2021. And that's where the whole movement came. Today, there is the movement, there's a pledge that people can take, the Soul Professional Pledge, which means you're pledging to be a good global citizen, to help each other rise, to collaborate, to coordinate, to not be feared in competition and how, like there's all of these points to the pledge, right? But it's about belongingness and safety and not having borders and being good humans. That's basically it. Just be a good human, right?
That's
And
a
all these
crazy
people,
concept.
sorry,
That's a crazy concept.
I know, right? And all these people are signing it now. It's great. But in the end of last year, the end of 2024, I closed down my membership, which is really funny because I was talking to like a venture capitalist. I was like, I can go this. Like, why would you just end all of that? And I was like, it just didn't feel right anymore. Like, I'll probably open up something else, but that wasn't it because it was 10 years old and it's running on an old model,
Well,
right? And we,
but you filled a need, a craving, a need
yeah,
at the right time,
right.
right place.
And the right people are following us. People are still signing the pledge. And I have a big free community now. So I still teach basic business classes every single month, and I put them on YouTube so everyone can learn for free no matter where you are in the world. And I still have free networking. We're in about 30 countries, right? So we still have free networking and from there I'll build more. So and the school came out of that because I was a former MBA professor in my spare time and I didn't like what they were teaching and I didn't feel that it was for today's solo entrepreneur that is service based. They teach product over 5 million, like prototype that, but they didn't have anything for the smaller entrepreneurial service based. Not a lot in service,
Right.
right? And I'm all about service based. So I was like, how do I get this service-based community? So the Soul Professional is really a service-based community, although corporations and people are calling us now to be more. And so there has to be more of conscious leadership and how do we do all of that? But um, that's kind of where we are today. But and the school I opened. So I do teach an accelerator program from concept to launch with all of the MBA principles. We take one principle a week. You get homework, you get everything.
So do
So
you find with all that, which is spectacular, from the pandemic on,
yeah.
obviously people were craving belonging. They were craving even Zoom. Well, Zoom was on a fine line of making it or not because they had racial stuff
Yes.
going on really early and
Yep.
they curbed that. But people were finding that they thought they were connected, but they really weren't connected. And that's when they had to try harder because now they didn't have the outside connection because of the pandemic. Everybody was inside. So they had to try harder to connect and have the feeling they did when they did it in person online, which was great that Zoom came on and you made that happen. They were craving it. Did you find that leaders, entrepreneurs, founders, other leaders or whatnot, had an idea that they can do better in business. They can have better economic results when they are doing good at the same time, when they are being good, when they are caring, or not.
I think it's leaning in that direction, but not everyone's there yet, right? So our tagline is purpose beyond profit.
Hmm.
And I'm always teaching like you still have to make a profit. Like the fundamentals of business still have to happen, right? They had to in a nonprofit too. Like you still have to have those fundamentals. You still need cash flow and programs and all of the stuff.
To be
Um,
sustainable.
You have to, right? And that's where it's a little wonky between the woo-woo and the business, right? But that's but that's my niche. Like that's my lane, right? It's explaining to people that you need to show up authentically and be who you are and serve the world. But you also need this little client mapping and funnel and right. I think marketing has changed. I think we're in a big change right now because a lot of things we used to put out there no longer work. And I'm seeing a lot of clients come back to me now because of AI. Everyone's throwing stuff out there, like, and people are losing work and they're all becoming coaches and consultants and right. And everyone just sounds like everyone else. So I think the relationships are more important than anything. And I think the authenticity of who we are and the transformation we are making is more important because that's what we have to talk about more. And
I,
as long
I,
as we
I,
can do it,
yeah, I 100% agree. That was the reason Leaders Who Care was trademarked, is that you leaders who care, they care about making money and they care about doing good at the same time, because logically it's not sustainable if you don't make money. And you know,
right. And during the pandemic, so many people in the service industry were like, well, I'm just going to slash my prices. I want to help everyone. And I was like, you'll go broke. That doesn't help anyone. Right. And teaching that, I did a money boot camp, which funny, last night they asked a couple people asked me to bring it back. And I was like, okay, I guess I could. If you feel like we're in that same spot, I'll bring it back. Um, but it's teaching people that we make impact with our wealth, right?
yeah.
And wealth is not dirty or a bad word or anything because that's how we really make impact. You have to make the money to make the impact.
I would just
Because
add an asterisk to that, which we talk about, is by doing good, whatever that good is, you're actually going to make more wealth.
so my old podcast, I closed that one too. It was called Six Figure Souls Doing Good and Making Money because I
Hmm.
was highlighting people that were doing good and making money because that was the most important piece. You had to make the money.
So you see, you were Leaders Who Care. You were Leader Who Cares even before we trademarked the term. So way to go. Um, so I have one last question on this part, because
Yes.
I generally joke around saying in LA we say to leave them wanting more so we can do a sequel, because we're LA, and so we may have to do that. But we talked about the pandemic year. I had a client in 2021 that described 2020 to me as the year that flew by slowly,
I saw that.
and
Yeah.
which was pretty right on the money. And even today, people feel like COVID and whatnot was yesterday and years ago all at the same time. It feels like blended in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
So with all that's happened, and you mentioned AI, fast and furious, it's great for some entrepreneurs, it's overwhelming for some entrepreneurs
Yeah.
and stuff. But with all this going on, what are you most grateful for, and what are you most hopeful for?
Oof, I'm grateful for so much. So much. Like I'm grateful for my family and my kids and all that fun stuff. But in a way, the pandemic, not to say I'm grateful that the pandemic happened, but good things came out of it, not just bad things, right? I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't know you, right? We
I
wouldn't
would
have
have found a
had,
way. I would have found a way to meet you.
yeah, but I don't think we'd have the connection we have today. And the beauty of that was everyone was going through the same thing. And I think for the first time, people realized we're all humans,
Exactly.
right? My kids grew up in a global world because they always grew up in the internet, but I didn't, right? I
Yeah.
had my town, and by going on Zoom, all of a sudden I was talking to people all over the world, and I could say, "What's it like for you?" Right? And I was learning about culture and people and their families, and which makes connection. Like I think I have better connections with people because of Zoom.
Hmm.
Better. And it's really funny when I travel, I don't tell people where I am because everyone wants to meet me no matter where I am. Like I was in Vienna
Aren't
and
we
someone's like, "I'm
popular?
up the street. Can we meet for coffee?" And I was in Budapest and the same thing happened and I'm like, "No. No." Like
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to.
I'm going to Toronto, but we're going to have to speak there. And I actually not telling my relatives I'm going to be there because otherwise I won't have time.
Yeah,
But
but it's also
you're
really cool, right? Like I
yeah.
know that I'm working very closely with a guy out in Bali, and I know when I go to Bali, I want to hang out with him and his wife and his family. Like
So you're
that's really
grateful for
cool
all
that
of
I
that.
have that. I'm grateful for that. Sorry, what was the rest of the
And
question?
what are you hopeful
What
for?
am I hopeful for? Um, um, I want to say humanity coming together. I'm really hopeful that we erase the stuff between our borders, which I think is happening. I honestly believe that it's the smaller entrepreneur that will make it happen because we see each other in a different light. We work with each other all the time, right? So we are the catalyst of making it happen.
It
So I'm
always has been.
hopeful for that. Yeah, and part of the soul professional movement is that catalyst. It's working with each other across borders.
Well, I'm grateful for having a really cool new friend, that's for sure. And and I'm grateful that you are a leader who cares, and
Thank
hopeful
you.
because you are a leader who cares. And I think the more we all do, and the more we look at the first time we meet a person, the more we look at the good in that person first, rather than everything else about that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a much better chance to achieve what you're talking about. So so thank you for all that and for being on the series.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for being our leader in Leaders Who Care.
My pleasure and my privilege.